Okay, so this is the meeting of the Majority Minority Subcommittee. It's Saturday, October 29th. The meeting is called to order at 10:08. A roll call. Donna Bullock. Here. Constance Graves.
Here.
Adrian Kissy.
Here.
Larry Malden.
Here.
Deshauna Owens Cody.
Here.
And myself, Marie Allen Campbell. Also with us this morning is Jeffrey Weiss,
I'm here.
Marissa Zanfordino,
I'm here.
Sam Mather,
Here.
Pretty Mather,
Yeah.
and Dr. Lisa Hanley.
I'm here.
Okay, we're tabling the minutes until the end of the agenda. We're just gonna make an adjustment. And we'll go right into the legal update and discussion. So Jeff, do you want to start that?
Okay, well, not sure where we left off, but I'll just start by saying that the major issues before the subcommittee moving forward, are the number and shape, characteristics of districts to consider. And there are the options. The first one is to recommend again the same plan that you recommended in the first place, which consists of 5 districts that are, highly likely to continue to elect the minority preferred candidates, and 2 additional districts that may elect minority preferred candidates. That plan best complies with both the Federal Voting Rights Act, Supreme Court precedents, and compliance with the state law that won't go into effect until next year. The second option is, and this is not in any prioritized order, is to go back to 5 districts. And as the county legislature is suggesting, 5 districts that maintain as much minority population as they might be comfortable with, possibly over 50% in some of those districts, and not create 2 additional districts. Then the sub alternative there is to create 5 districts, but that 5 districts that are not over 50%, if not necessary. That would avoid any kinds of problems with racial gerrymandering by packing too many minority voters into any single district. And then let's see, what's the next the next option is to also go back and look to see if not only can the 5 current districts be maintained, but if an additional 6th district can be drawn with a minimum minority voting age population of 50% or more. I say this because under the Voting Rights Act, you are already required to maintain 5 districts, but to create under the VRA an effective 6th district, you would have to create that district at 50% or more. I think Arkbridge has tried to do that, but we haven't been able to talk with them for a while, so that's also on the table. So these are the options. My only other commentary is that we have had concerns and some correspondence from county legislators that I first saw yesterday afternoon that talked about turnout.
Can you just talk about the supplemental material that we received?
Well, that's what I was getting into, that the question goes to, and Dr. Hanley will also discuss this, is that there was a concern that the MMD subcommittee looked at voting age population, but not necessarily voter turnout. And I think Dr. Hanley can address how the turnout is incorporated into her analysis, that while we don't know, how many people of a certain race or ethnicity actually voted, we know from the the voting patterns and results in the precincts where they make up a heavy majority of the population based on the census data, that there are correlations there. So at this point, I think it's best that that Dr. Hanley has seen the comments from the county legislators, and whether you want to ask her a question first or whether she should comment based on what she and I have discussed and what the legislators have written, let's move forward.
Okay. Does anybody have looks like I left my copies before
What are you
you,
looking for? These?
a copy of the last supplementals.
Oh,
So
what,
before you go, I just want to make sure everybody here has an understanding of the supplemental material that we got. So the supplemental material that we got is an attempt by the legislature to provide us with more specifics relative to what their concerns are and what they're requesting. So similar to what they told us before,
is that it?
yes,
Supplemental material?
yeah, everybody got it.
Mhm.
So similar to what they said before, they're looking for, they would like to see a more concentrated minority voting age population in the MMDs. It is their belief that the MMDs as currently recommended by us are spread too thin, and that as a result, they've been weakened and they're not going to be effective in minorities being able to elect their chosen candidate. They're asking that districts be created that are more cohesive and unified, and that to the extent doable, that communities be left intact. They reference the John Lewis Voting Rights Act now, which was passed in New York State, which doesn't go in effect until next June. But it has a provision in there that allows for the consideration of voter turnout and a determination of effectiveness. In addition, they provided some individual recommendations from some of the legislatures. I think there's 5 in total. One is the legislator for District 5, who's basically saying that the 5-district map that we had, the districts were stronger, to consider that, and only go to 6 districts if we can create a strong 6th district. Also not crossing municipal lines, which there's nothing that says that we can't cross municipal lines if there's really real justification for doing so. And he talks about community of interest and ensuring effective voting age population. And then in District 10, there's a concern that we moved a Jewish congregation out of District 10, which the legislator there says has been part of that district for over 40 years and is requesting consideration to adding it back to the district. There was also a legislature from District 11 who spoke at the ACRC meeting relative to his district being spread too wide into multiple areas, and he's asking that his district be brought back. That's the one who talked about being in Albany, New Scotland, Bethlehem. And then there's the legislature that talked about concerns in his district relative to neighborhoods that have been broken up and relative to the loss of one representative. The recommended map takes Waterville area from 3 representatives to 2. And then there was information from another legislature, also talks about the John Lewis Acts, makes a comment that we should use the census block tool and evaluate and propose changes, which has already been happening, of course. And a need to understand the gap and efficacy between the voting age population for the MMDs versus the actual turnout. So that's the supplemental material. So you have
Marie,
related to some, yes.
just a question. My Zoom broke when you're discussing the first comment, District 5. Was the second one District 10?
Yes.
Okay, so let's see, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I got them all. I missed about 30 seconds. Okay.
So Larry, did you have a question related to something that Jeff has said?
Yeah, he said that we could not use the actual voter turnout because we didn't have those numbers. But that's not true.
No, I
The
didn't.
numbers out there for voter turnout.
No, we know the turnout. We don't know the actual race of. We don't know how many. Unless Lisa could discuss this more, but if a election district, is not completely, Black or Hispanic in population, we don't know who in that election district is that votes is white or Black or Hispanic, but we know the population ethnicity itself.
Well, that's not true either, because if they can tell me that there are, let's say, 2,000 possible voters, and then they can break it down and tell me of those 2,000 possible voters, how many of them are Black, how many of them are white.
We don't have that.
I don't believe that's true. I believe it is true that we can have the information that tells us of the minority population. We know what the minority population is, and we know what percentage of the minorities turn out to vote. So you can't tell me.
Not actual vote.
Dr. Hanley is shaking her head. Do you want to chime in?
Yeah, why don't we just go to Dr. Hanley? We don't have that, Larry. The election board does not keep information by ethnicity.
Okay.
Dr. Hanley,
I'm here.
want to chime in at this point?
But there are a number of southern jurisdictions that used to be covered by what's called Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act that actually does keep registration and turnout data by race. So when you go and register to vote, you have to indicate your race. New York is not like that, as are most states that aren't in the South do not collect registration by race. So if you didn't go and fill out a form and tell folks what your race was, they don't know the percentage of the percentage of registered voters that are Black, nor do they know the percentage of turnout that's Black. Again, that's New York. It's true in the South, we do know that, but it is not true in New York. So we have to estimate registration rates and turnout rates. Now, as it happens, it's very difficult to estimate turnout rates, particularly for Black voters, because the turnout is very low. And so you tend to get negative numbers. However, when you look at recompiled election results, which is what we did, that takes into account both the degree, 3 things: the minority cohesiveness, that is, who are they voting for, the amount of white crossover, and the turnout rates. So when you see actual voting, like the percent of votes for Letitia James in a particular district, that is taking into account turnout rates. But these are just estimates. We don't know. But again, the functional analysis that we did does take into account turnout rates. But we can't parse it out to Black voters and white voters, only to of the Black and white voters that turned out, this is what the voting patterns look like. So again, recompiled election results, our functional analysis took into account turnout rates, but I can't report for you estimates of the turnout rates.
Okay, so,
Can I just clarify?
sure.
Estimates of turnout rates based upon race. You can't parse it down to estimates of turnout rates by race.
Well, I did try actually, and what we get is negative numbers. So we're not reporting those. The turnout is too low for both Blacks and whites in legislative elections to get reliable turnout rates. So yes, I did try and I can't do it.
Okay.
And it requires an estimation procedure. It is not something that we can do easily. And the legislator who indicated that we didn't take into account turnout rates is incorrect, because turnout rates are taken into account in the effectiveness analysis.
So, Dr. Hanley, this is Sam. Question for you. So when the voters go to register to vote, they are not required to put their race?
Not in New York, not
Not
in
in
most
New
states.
Okay.
They are in the South.
Mhm.
For example, in Georgia and Louisiana, you have to indicate your race, but certainly not in most states and not in New York.
Okay.
Is that if New York State did provide for identification by race when registering, that would be helpful?
Well, again, the South was more or less required to do it by the Department of Justice, because they had to show that Black registration and turnout rates were increasing. So the only way that you could do that was by asking for race when you registered to vote. But this is not something that is common anywhere. In fact, it doesn't happen anywhere else other than a few southern states.
Okay.
I mean,
my question is, if it was required, would that be helpful in this process?
it isn't going, well, yes, it is helpful in the South, but it's not ever going to be required here. But yes, I mean, you could certainly do better.
My question is, like, is it going to be helpful, yes or no? Not whether or not it'll be required. I was just wondering if it would in fact be helpful. It would be helpful, but it'll not be required, is what you're saying.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so, so this kind of relates to, I guess to like provide like a specific example of information that came out of our public hearings. There was a legislature from District 14 and also a legislature from District 3 that spoke. And part of what they were saying, like in District 14, the legislator made a statement to the effect that she had a situation in her district where somewhere between 2,000 and 2,500 people voted in that district. In District 3, only 500 people voted. And that's, you know, that's what's driving their concerns about having weakened the districts and the strength of the districts. So that just kind of provides, I mean, those numbers are not exact. I don't remember the specific number that she gave, and I don't know if she gave an exact number, but that's part of the whole voter turnout issue and what's driving concerns about the strength of the districts.
But she's saying that within a specific district, there's lopsided turnout in that the white turnout is high, the Black turnout is low.
No,
Right.
she can't possibly be saying that. She can't know that. She only knows that, for example, in one district, 1,500 people turned out, and in another district, 500 people turned out.
Election district.
No, I think this is the legislative district.
Well, let me re-ask the question, Marie. Was she talking about within her legislative district? Let's say whether it was 14
She was comparing her district to
to
another
another district. Okay.
in terms of voter turnout. And
Now-
the other district is a MMD. Her district was not.
Okay.
So that doesn't necessarily mean anything in terms of the effectiveness of the district. It does point out that turnout rates are different across the districts, first of all. And we do know in a general sort of way that minority turnout is lower than white turnout. But it's going to vary across districts, and we don't know who's turning out and who's not turning out in a particular district.
I mean, but we do know historically that minority voter turnout is relatively low compared to majority voter turnout. And that was also part of Judge Khan's discussion in his 2015 decision.
Yep. But
It is generally the case, and I'm sure it's also the case here in Albany that, say, Black and Hispanic turnout is lower than white turnout.
but if you have high turnout in a white district, that's still going to elect the local candidate, not a minority candidate, but the district that was drawn in the minority community deals with the factors on the ground in that community.
But yeah, we're not talking about a majority district, we're talking about a minority district. So, I mean, minority districts, they're comprised of minorities and they're comprised of majorities. And so if the majority population votes to a high percentage, even though you can have a minority voting population that's higher, that can be diluted because of the voting history.
That's why we look at
And
the
that's part
actual
of the
election
question.
results, because that takes into account this difference in turnout.
But it can't really make any projections relative to race because we don't have that.
Well, let's say the minority preferred candidate is winning in a district. It could be because Blacks are turning out at a higher rate in that particular district, or it could be that whites are crossing over and voting for that candidate. We don't actually know why the minority preferred candidate is winning. If the as a general rule, when we say that Black turnout, say, is lower than white turnout, it turns out that white turnout is often lower in districts in which the majority are Black voters. So it's really hard to say, as a general rule, when you have 500 voters turning out to vote, what the composition of those voters are. What really matters is who's winning.
What really matters is what?
Who's winning the contest? Is the minority preferred candidate actually winning the contest or losing the contest?
So would it be safe to say that some of the responses that we have received in these updates are based on assumptions
Oh, certainly.
or a lack of understanding about effectiveness?
Oh, I think so, yes. I think
Yeah.
that you have taken into account some things that they believe that you have not taken into account.
Right.
Things like differential turnout is taken into account when you're looking at the effectiveness of a district.
See, but the racial mix of each of the districts. So if you know the racial mix,
population, but you don't know the turnout.
yeah, so based on the racial mix, you can always interpolate, depending on what the voter turnout is for that district. So based on, so if, say, for example, a certain district has 80% or 50% minority, and the turnout is, say, 100 votes, so you could kind of say that, at least 50% of the vote could be the minority. It means is that something?
Not really, no. No. That's why we do these statistical estimates. Let's say that you looked across, if you had enough districts, the same thing that we look at when we try and estimate voting patterns, and we look across precincts. If you had enough districts, you could make that kind of assumption. Let's say turnout is really high in districts that are higher in white population, and it's much lower in districts that are higher in Black population. But we don't actually know if it's just that Blacks are turning out at lower rates, or are whites also turning out at low rates in districts that are high in minority. There's research to show that not only Black voters turn out at lower rates in general, but white voters turn out at lower rates in majority Black districts. So you can't do that.
So that also addresses how, if that's the case, then Black voters shouldn't be as concerned that white voters will predominate and not vote them if there are minority candidates and you don't have white candidates running. The minority candidate will still be elected.
I mean, that kind of assumes that always holds true.
Yeah, it doesn't always hold true. This is just patterns that political scientists have noticed.
I mean, yeah.
And I think one of the problems is they're looking for like guarantees. And there are no guarantees in this process.
That's correct. I mean, it's like they, regardless of whether it's the same candidate running, they want to have a lock safe, sure as can be plan that the candidates they think should be elected will be elected. And, you've got what we've seen recently are in primaries, multiple candidate primaries with multiple races and ethnicities running within the same district because of just more people running for office at the primary level. That makes some of this analysis even harder to do. But based on looking at the reformulated results in the proposed districts, this is how, if the election were held today, it's most likely to turn out.
See, in District 2, we see 2 Black candidates and 2 white candidates. And the Black candidate that won the election had the maximum vote, followed very closely by, I don't remember the name, but by the white candidate. But the second Black candidate got the lowest votes. So it also depends, I guess, on the candidate. It does not necessarily mean that a certain race will vote for a certain candidate.
That's true.
A lot depends on the candidate itself. So,
well, not just the candidate itself, but the number of candidates. So, for example, if you have 5 Black candidates and 1 white candidate running, and Black voters aren't cohesive behind one of those candidates, they spread their vote across 5 of them, the white candidate will win. And no amount of Black VAP can correct that situation. The only way to correct that situation is to put into place something called ranked choice voting, which is what they did in New York in the Democratic primary, so that if a whole bunch of minority candidates run, you can do a ranked choice voting so that votes are shifted so that one white candidate doesn't necessarily win unless he's the second or third choice of Black voters. Anyway,
that's not
you
the
have
case.
enough candidates running, there's no, and Black voters aren't cohesive behind a single one, there's no amount of redistricting, Black VAP districts that will cure that
Yeah,
situation.
and that's not something we could address. It's something that whoever slates and nominates candidates needs to organize and focus on and develop a strategy to make sure that if you want to make sure that you don't have 5 Black candidates and 1 white candidate run in one district, that I think the political organizing needs to address that.
But you can't
I
control that.
mean,
We
this
can't control that. So you can control, how many candidates are running, but this analysis, I don't think we can conclude anything definitively for this analysis, based on this analysis, that because this depends on situations. So there's so many possible scenarios. So
The courts have done the following. The courts have said, this is how, in this situation, we're going to determine if this is a district that's likely to elect candidates of choice. The court said the best predictor of this is what's happened in the past. That's why we do this effectiveness analysis. It's not a guarantee. Nothing here is a guarantee, but the courts and political scientists agree that one way, the best way to determine what's likely to happen is to take previous elections and look at how they would play out in these new districts. This is how the courts have decided this should be done.
And that makes sense, because past performance is always, the best predictor of future.
Right. I mean, it's not foolproof
But-
by any means,
But I mean, the discussion that we're having, it just, points to back to other discussions that we've had. That there's many factors that play into what the results of an election are gonna be. And voter turnout is one. And in the Judge Khan decision, he even discussed that as well. And looking at percentages that, there's many factors that can play into whether or not a candidate is effective in an election, whether or not a minority or majority candidate wins. Outside of what the voting age percentages may be, or what the population statistics may be in a particular district.
So in my sense is that if everybody is on board and understanding this concept and analysis, then we should probably start looking to what are the alternatives, if any. And I think in order, we'd look to see again whether we can maintain 5 districts at the rates that we now show they're electable, and not pack them all over 50%, and see if a 6th district in any way is possible. And then also looking to see if that can't happen, then going with the same plan you have, or going with 5 districts that are not packed, and seeing if there's just the next best 6th district, and leave it there. I mean, I think what the legislators are doing and understanding their concern, their lack of understanding of the analysis and how it's done has been a problem. Yesterday I got a call from the legislature's attorney, and at his initiative, and discussed these same issues with them. And he acknowledged pretty much that the legislators don't have the analysis, don't have the ability to do this. It's basically what their sense is. And I explained the differences between turnout and voting age population, and how these factors have been considered. And it's more or less, what else do you need? We've explained this to you. And, how do we move forward?
Yeah, I mean, we encourage them to watch the May 23rd meeting, the joint meeting we had with the ACRC, where Dr. Hanley went through her whole analysis of the various maps that have been submitted. And, she explained, effectiveness and how what you look at to determine an effective district. And I don't know that many of them have watched that. I don't think they have a handle on the effectiveness analysis. They
Yeah.
want to see districts with 50% or more. That's what they want to see.
And that alone raises the problem of racial packing, and they're not the Voting Rights Act vote dilution concerns that they are focusing on, but the issue of racial packing or racial gerrymandering, where you're then denying minority voters the ability to have influence in the outcome of elections in neighboring districts. And then their fear becomes, what we don't want minority voters to be just, small fractions in other districts. You want everybody to be united in as few districts as possible. And the courts, Lisa, you want to say something?
I just wanted to ask a question. How many of those, only 3 of those 5 districts are majority Black?
You couldn't hear you there.
I have here that only 3 of the 5 current districts are majority Black. Is that?
I mean, that's correct in the original plans that we put together, and the plan that we recommended, none of them are. They're all.
No, what I want to ask is, so 2 of the current districts are not majority Black. Is that correct?
Yes.
2 of the districts that are in place now that are electing minority candidates are not majority Black. Is that correct?
Yes.
Are they advocating that those districts also be increased?
I'm not sure that they realize that those 2 are not majority districts.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
They're advocating that. I mean, I think there's a couple of things. I mean, I think, some of the legislatures have not necessarily been intimately involved in redistricting and don't understand all of this stuff. Quite a few of them have. Quite a few of them were involved in the last lawsuit, and maybe the one even prior to that. So, I mean, some of them do have a good understanding of redistricting. Basically, I mean, they're saying that in what we're recommending in the districts, that we've weakened them. And we've weakened them at a time when the landscape of the city of Albany is changing in a way that's gonna, I guess, add more adverse impact to the whole thing. I mean, we can talk about this all day. There's no guarantees about any of this stuff. We could build the strongest districts that we can build, and we can still have a situation where a minority candidate doesn't win, like what happened in District 6 the last time. But I think, I mean, in terms of our charge, I mean, we wanna, in good faith, consider the concerns that they have raised. We want to take a look at the districts, and if they can be strengthened, we probably should strengthen them.
If they can be strengthened legally.
Yeah.
Legally.
Yeah.
They did start out by telling us that they have 5 strong districts. That's what they told us. And we're like, and we're looking at each other like, no, you don't. You have 3. So there may be some people who are aware, and I don't know, for those folks who are aware, I don't know why they're not.
That they had as a result of the last redistricting effort over time have changed.
See, the problem 10 years
And
ago.
part of that change.
What you do?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if the video cut in. What I was going to say is that you're looking at the Pope case in the context of 2010 census data and a 2017 court decision, when you had Section 2 violations for the failure to create the minimum required number of minority districts under the Voting Rights Act back in 2015. But now you're looking at the 2020 data, you're looking at those 5 districts, and they don't perform the same way they performed when they were first created. So we're not looking at Section 2 violations anymore. We're looking at effectiveness and not packing districts. I mean, to one degree, there's concern that you don't want to roll things back, but at another, level, Albany has moved forward.
So, I mean, I think we could have this discussion all day and we would still be saying the same things.
Yeah, I mean, one thing to do
Over and
is
over.
maybe ask Sam and Pretty if they can draw maps that, stick pretty much to the 5 districts as they were drawn, because we
Well, I
believe.
was gonna get to that because, in our meeting where we were looking at the maps, where we had the strongest districts were in original Plan A and Plan A revised. And so we had discussed as a starting point, Pretty and Sam looking at, well, I mean, there's a couple of things. We have another map that was publicly submitted that should be analyzed. We want to, as a starting point, look at original Plan A and Plan A revised. And use that as a starting point to determine if an additional district can be drawn that considers the increased minority population. And I believe District 7 had the largest increase in terms of diverse population. So using those things as a basis, doing a re-review, taking another look to see if we can draw a 6th district that would be effective. Does that make sense, Pretty and Sam?
Yeah, I mean, certainly, because Plan A and Plan A revised were pretty strong, districts, minority districts.
I mean, so I guess the gist of it, we believe that the population in Albany County in terms of minorities and also in terms of the city of Albany has increased enough that there is a basis for an additional district or 2. We believe that. We believe that with Manans having the 2nd largest diverse population, we believe that there's a basis for looking at that population in Manans. Everybody agrees with that?
Yes.
Yes. Marie, what I would recommend is to start with Plan A revised, because in Plan A, the original plan, we had a little piece jutting out into Manans where we got a lot of opposition or a lot of comments. So I think the best place to start would be Plan A revised.
I guess what we're saying that, yeah, we got comments about being in Manans, but we still believe that there's a basis for going there. Now, initially, when we went there, we only went there, I mean, it was a small portion.
Right.
Yes, yes.
So, I mean, if you look at original Plan A, it was a small portion of Manans. So we're
Yes.
not saying, let's throw Manans out. I mean, we know that there's opposition to it. But, I mean, there's opposition to it, but it's still something that we have to consider.
Okay, sounds good.
So that's where we want to go right now.
That's essentially where I was also going to suggest, with that kind of a scenario.
So take a look at that and also analyze the latest submission that we got.
Okay.
What was the latest submission?
it was a submission, it's a 6 district submission that Lars Dahl submitted.
And when did he submit it?
I think he submitted it on maybe like, yeah, it was like a week or 2 weeks ago. It could be 2 weeks ago.
Okay, well, I think okay.
And it is on the website, right? So,
Yeah, I think I emailed it to y'all too,
Okay,
Okay.
I'll go back and look.
because AppGeo had, they had sent out the map book and the shape files.
okay.
Looking at the effectiveness of Plan A, you would not only want to see if you could draw a 6th district, but District 2 is not so effective in, I think it's District 2. Wait a minute, it's District 3. So it's District 3, despite the very high Black VAP, the Black preferred candidate is not winning any
Which
contracts.
which one are you looking at, Dr.
Just
Henley?
A or A revised?
Well, that's, I don't know. I'm comparing the revised from the Arc Bridge, and then mine just says Plan A, so it might not be Plan A revised. I don't know what my Plan A is when I did this analysis.
So I
But
have,
my point is this,
For the
let's not just look at VAP, let's look at the effectiveness of the districts, because Plan A revised might not be as strong as you think it is, even though the VAP is high. Let's make sure that these are effective districts.
yeah, we have, we did look at the effectiveness analysis, and for original Plan A, we have 5 likely to elect, and for Plan A revised, we also have 5 likely to elect.
Not according to my table. My table says Plan A only has 4 likely to elect.
Plan A revised or Plan
That
A?
was the
That's
as
what I'm
is.
saying. So it may be Plan A revised. I mean, mine may be the original Plan A. I don't know.
But I have
All I'm
that,
saying is let's make sure
It may
that
be revised, it may be revised, because Plan A original was not discussed a whole lot, because we came up with opposition on that and we very quickly changed to Plan A revised. So that's the one that we worked on the most.
with that one, be careful when you say you've got 5 effective districts, because by my calculation, well, let's just look at the election results as well as the VAP. You have to look at the election results as well as the VAP anyway, or you're going to run into a 14th Amendment problem. So
yeah,
just,
unless the charts that we have are wrong, because the charts that we have, it has current 5 districts, 1 very likely, 4 likely. It has original Plan A and it has Plan A. Both of those were 5 likely. 5 likely to elect. It has, for Plan B, it has 1 very likely, 3 likely, 4 likely to elect. For Plan C, it have 5 likely, 2 possible. The Plan D that we had, it had 1 very likely, 3 likely, 4.
okay, I see where we are. Yeah. Okay, so Plan A actually has 5 likely. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm looking at some old stuff. That is correct. I'm
Okay.
sorry. Yeah, but my point is just make sure that you look at election results as well as VAP when you're constructing the
I'm
6th
sorry.
district.
Look at election
results
results.
in voting age percentages.
Right. I mean, you're off the cuff, you're going to be looking at the VAP of the districts, but Arcbridge can also give you the election results, and just pay attention and make sure that you're paying attention to both pieces of information.
Yeah, I mean, we will look into all that, sure.
Okay, any questions or other discussion relative to mapping?
No, I had looked at our latest submissions from the legislature in terms of trying to provide us with additional clarification. And there may be some questions in terms of their comments from me.
Okay, you wanna-
Not right now, no.
okay. Okay, Sam and Pretty, do y'all have anything else?
No,
Do
the
y'all
way,
feel like y'all have good direction to go forth and conquer?
we will definitely work on it and check back with you and let you know the kinds of things we are getting and what is possible.
So when will we next reconvene to discuss this? Next Saturday or anything?
Yeah,
before that?
next Saturday, unless y'all feel we need to try to schedule something sooner.
Next Saturday, how are we doing next Saturday? We good?
Yeah,
Oh, Sam and Pretty, are y'all still able to do Wednesday?
Yeah, well, let me look at my calendar. I think we can do Wednesday. Hold on one second. That would be November 2nd.
Yeah, we didn't have it on the schedule.
But you gave us those dates.
Yeah, I didn't put November 2nd.
That's not all right.
Yeah.
But didn't we have Wednesday meeting?
So, I mean, yeah, if y'all feel like that gives y'all enough time to really look at it, to have something for us to look at on Wednesday, it probably makes sense that we do a midweek meeting as well as our Saturday meeting.
So we can do Wednesday at 6 p.m. if that works.
Okay.
I could do Wednesday at 6 also.
Okay.
I won't be able to.
Okay. Adrian?
I have to get back to you on that.
Okay. Connie?
Far as I know.
Larry?
Sounds good to me.
Donna?
Yes.
Okay, so Wednesday at 6, we'll set up a meeting and send the link out.
That'll be.
Where is
And
that?
we have to find a location.
You want me to see if I can get here?
Yeah,
Okay.
That's November the 2nd.
yes.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
so if we use next Wednesday for presentation and discussion, depending on the conclusions that are reached, we're going to meet again next Saturday. And at some point, we're going to want to have Dr. Hanley come back or have her review something.
Right.
I would suggest that we send whatever comes out of Wednesday's meeting, if it's something you agree to, that we send the map to Dr. Hanley to look at. And maybe,
I mean, if Dr. Hanley if you're available on Wednesday at 6, you can sit in on that meeting. So if there's anything that you see that you have concerns about, maybe they could be addressed prior to Saturday.
So
okay,
what I'm thinking is on Wednesday, we will look at the boundaries and changes and Pretty, can we do the effectiveness as well by Wednesday, or will that be delayed a little bit? So once we agree with the boundary and the changes, because doing effectiveness analysis is good if once we have a plan that everyone accepts, and then we can look at the effectiveness and see any more changes are necessary. So by Wednesday, we will have the changes, and then once we agree to that, we will do the effectiveness analysis on those. And if there's any minor adjustments to be made, or otherwise you can just present based on the discussion on Wednesday, we do the effectiveness analysis and then take it from there.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that if Dr. Hanley is available and can be present at that meeting also, she'll have the same understanding as everybody else.
Yeah, that's fine, but so once we present the maps to you on Wednesday, there may be some changes that you may suggest.
True,
So if
true.
those changes happen, then the effectiveness will change again. See what I'm trying to say? Because effectiveness depends on where the boundary line is.
Yeah, I'm just trying to consider the time or lack thereof that we have in really getting this done, with like December 12th being the date that we have to have something back to the legislature, and us needing to get to our endpoint in time for the ACRC to be able to address the other districts.
Mhm.
Sure, let's do like this, Marie. We'll work on it and we'll keep you posted. And if we are completely ready, then we can ask Dr. Hanley to join in. But if we are still, it's like work in progress, then we can email it to her and then she can provide us
Okay, well, let's
her
stay in
feedback.
touch. We should hold Wednesday at 6 and next Saturday at 10, and just apprise us as soon as you know what the next steps are.
Sure.
Okay. Are y'all good? Okay.
So we're up to date.
Dr. Hanley, do you have anything else for us?
I do not.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else you'd like from me?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. I think we
So,
made some progress and understanding.
Yeah, if y'all wanna to jump off,
Okay.
fine.
Okay, great. So we'll see
Yeah,
you
if
either.
y'all look and y'all can't find those maps, just let me know and I'll resend them. Like the large
Okay.
doll map.
Okay.
Okay, well, have a great weekend and see you either Wednesday and or Saturday.
Okay,
Okay, bye.
thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Okay.
Have a
Dr.
good
Hanley.
day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. Marie, do we still need to meet on Monday? On the schedule, you got Monday, November 7th at the library.
I'm
Well,
gonna
that's November.
leave it there because I think we might need to consider whether we want to promote whether we want to have like a public meeting and promote like do some outreach to get some of the community to come so we can update them.
On the 7th?
So I think we
You
need
have
to,
to
we
do
need to
something.
leave it as a
I feel
possible
bad.
option.
That Wednesday.
Yeah.
For a public hearing,
Not a hearing, but like,
a public meeting where folks are just invited.
cause I feel like, I mean, heretofore, in this extended process that we're in, we haven't really done any outreach of any kind. And I do think that we need to do at least one thing where we
Alright.
do some outreach and we
Okay, so
invite
what do
people
you
to
mean
come
by
and we
outreach?
update them on what's going on.
What do you mean by outreach?
Like, I don't know, make up a flyer, email it around,
So
get it posted some places.
we're having a meeting so the public can come and we can,
Yeah, we can
Dialogue with
talk to
them.
them and update them on where things are at.
oh, okay.
On Monday, the 7th.
We might have to.
Okay, now I understand. I was just, because we kind of did that with our
Yeah, I'll
community.
talk to
We
you.
kind of did that with our community engagement forum.
I mean, it's no other day.
I feel the calendar, like I've looked at the calendar, I feel like against what I can't commit to as much as I could before. And it's been a struggle for me personally, I can't, like the 7th, I can't because I have meetings that I'm running outside on the same day. Like a lot of the calendar dates for me is just, I'm running other meetings now too.
You're running out of
I ran out
mental
of room.
space.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
it would even be okay if all of us are not there, if enough of us are there, you know, to just do an update and participate in some discussion. That'll be fine, but I just don't think we should go through this whole 60-day period now.
Agree.
And the Black Expo.
Time frame is so collapsed.
Mhm.
It's not that many
Mhm.
days that are available.
Yeah, we don't have
Mhm.
the luxury of time.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I hate mouse. No mouse.
So that's all I'm thinking of. I guess we should decide if that's something that we want to do.
I agree we should do that, and I agree we should have some kind of outreach. I'm not sure if November the 7th, because we're talking about, when is election day? The 8th?
The 8th.
So we're gonna do it the day before, maybe, because that's when people are talking voting and all that. Maybe we wanna do it the next week or something. I'm just not sure doing it the week of election, we're gonna get a good turnout with people already, you know, focusing on voting.
What about
I mean,
the
I'm for doing it.
I mean,
I'm just-
people focusing on voting, but for most people, it's just going to vote. I mean,
Yeah, okay, well, I just wanna know, because election is the 8th and we're doing something on the 7th. I just want to know, maybe if we did it to next week, maybe the 14th or something, maybe, I don't know. I just don't like doing stuff.
Isn't the ACRC also having a meeting on the 7th of November?
I don't know when they said their next
think
meeting. I don't
they do
remember
have-
when
I
they
think
said
that's
their
their-
next meeting
I think
is.
that's their next meeting.
Well, what about
There was an email about it.
What about
Yesterday.
is the night, what if we did that Thursday, the night market? Like, because if people, because I'm pretty sure the week before, they'll probably be trying to work on getting people to
About
vote
Thursday to 10.
on Tuesday, but then Thursday is the night market. I mean, that might be another.
I'm saying Thursday, November 10th.
Yeah.
10th, yeah.
So,
You won't be here.
I mean, I
Oh,
would,
that's right.
but the only thing
Well, she's
is,
gonna be, but she's gonna be gone for how long? We can't like not function
Right.
if you're, just because you're on vacation.
no, that's what I'm saying. Things
Yeah,
are still gonna
yeah,
have to
yeah,
happen
yeah.
while I'm not
Right.
here.
Yeah.
And if I need to like be up in the wee hours of the morning to attend a meeting, I will. I'll just plan for it and
I mean,
No.
I mean, we're still gonna need to be meeting in that
Right.
period.
And-
So,
But you wanna do it.
yes. So let's, so, I mean, we could do the night market, but the only thing is that gonna prevent us from doing like broader outreach? If we're just gonna, because we can't take their event
Yeah,
and
that's true.
assume
Yeah.
that we can invite.
Yep.
I mean, that's the only thing about that.
There's that, and then the Black Expo is the following week at MVP Arena,
What day is that?
this Saturday, the 19th.
yeah.
And that's gonna have, I mean, that's
Saturday,
being promoted all over the place.
Saturday to what?
The
19.
19th,
Wow.
the Black Expo.
Yeah,
We have
but
it's after though, like we would probably already have everything shared with ACRC.
well,
Right?
yeah. Well, I don't know what we're looking at as a deadline to what.
Well,
when we
probably
wanna
by
get-
that point, we might have already decided
Yeah.
what we're gonna do. So at that point,
We lost.
it's not really input, it's just like informational.
Mhm.
I mean, I think by that point, we will have to have decided.
Mhm. Because they said hopefully by before Thanksgiving, right? Like I heard it in the video.
So, I mean, I don't really want to do the 7th either, but I don't see that many opportunities.
Okay.
And if we do the night market, I just think it limits our outreach.
What about Wednesday, the 9th, the day after Election Day?
Wednesday, I mean, I could do it. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's the day I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the day I'm leaving.
Right.
Y'all could do it without me.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all could do it without me. I mean, depending on, I guess, what the forum is,
Well,
I can
already
link
have
in
this-
via a Zoom.
we already have a meeting. We have a meeting for the 7th. We're supposed to be at the Albany Public Library.
Yeah, I was able to get that date, so I just left it there as like a
Wow.
placeholder in the
Yeah.
event that we wanted to do something else.
Okay, we can do it. I mean,
Yeah, we'll have, I mean, yeah, they have enough space.
If they give us that, yeah.
The room with the podium.
Yeah.
Oh, they have two rooms.
rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, because,
Well, I think it's
The
that
more-
big room.
well,
one
yeah,
in the
because
back.
that's,
Yeah.
One in the
that's
back.
when I did,
Yeah.
It holds like 60-something people.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's in the back. It's the one in the back.
in the back.
Yeah,
Because that's the room they always give us when I've done book talks. And I'm like, we could use a much
And
smaller
that
room.
is
I thought she said, when I go get my Botox. That's the one they usually give me.
Big book talks. And I was like, why they
Botox.
put us in this big old room? Because you know it's only maybe like maybe 10, 12 people.
Yeah.
Or in this big room.
November 7th, at what
Okay.
time?
Well, are we keeping the 5 o'clock time? That was what
Yeah, I
you
think-
had proposed originally.
yeah, I think we should keep it at that.
Okay.
Okay. So we meeting on
And
the,
we could do it for like, I don't know,
So what are we calling it?
information, public information.
Informational session?
Yeah, where we can let the public know basically what has happened, how we have submitted a map. Our map has been returned and we're in the process of,
Mhm.
coming up with another map or
Yeah.
whatever, just informational.
we can make a flyer.
Okay, and
We
then-
could post it at the library. We could do postings at Stewart's again. Um,
let me know.
We could,
Can we put it in the paper? Times Union? In our little.
I mean, we could, but the only thing is,
Oh, excuse me.
What's your?
suppose we get, well, it's probably highly unlikely that we're gonna get more than 60-something people. But,
We'll get what we get.
yeah, let's think about that
Okay.
paper. But, I mean, certainly.
But
could-
we do have that room. We do have the big room. Okay.
We could do the emails.
And
To
to our
all
partner.
those contacts. I could reach out again to Gwen Pope and have her send it to her leaks and stuff. And then at least we did reach out for public input as part of this
Mhm.
additional process that we're in.
Okay.
Okay, so,
Looking at the 2nd, the 5th, and the 7th.
I think there's somebody do my
the
report for me.
second is the mapping.
Right, then the 5th.
The 5th and the
And the
7th.
7th,
Okay,
okay.
somebody from my
What's the
committee, my
5th, Saturday?
committees.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so, okay, so the second,
January 1. I'm
2 days apart.
November 2nd,
I already decided what I'm.
November 5th,
And then November 7th.
What are we looking at now?
we will have something on November 2nd, November 5th, and November 7th. November 5th, that would be our Saturday meeting. November 2nd, that would be the mapping meeting. And then
Right, and then we have a meeting on the 5th. And then the 7th is this.
Informational,
yeah,
And
public informational.
didn't we have 2 mapping dates? Didn't we propose 2 mapping dates?
I don't think so. I mean, we didn't, I know I didn't put them on that schedule. Cause once we had decided we were gonna do the Saturday meetings, I think I kind of forgot about our potential need to have those in between mapping meetings. So I'll revise the schedule.
How did the ACRC meeting go?
Yeah.
Because I didn't get a chance to look at it.
I mean, it went good. It was only a few, it was.
Do you have comment or
Huh?
no comment? You're talking about the public comment plus the meeting as a whole?
Yeah, all right, so wait a minute, so let's finish, yeah, I mean, it went good, it was the public comment period and then the meeting. But, so I created minutes from our last meeting. I want to look at, if we could approve them, I'd like to approve them.
And they are up on the, I got your message, they're up on the, and I did reshuffle, I found the videos, they were on there, but I moved them to our playlist.
Oh, they
So
were
they're
there?
all- They were on the live, so when you click the live videos, you can see, anytime we do YouTube live, they go in their own folder, so like all of these CRCs. But what I did is to update, I toggled them over to our playlist, so now all the meetings that we've done are
Okay,
in the playlist.
all right, thank you. So yeah, if we could just read through this and if there's edits that need to be made, we can make those edits. And this is for the last meeting, and I started on the ones for the 22nd.
Okay, can I edit and see that? Like, spacing and stuff like that?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah, I see it move.
Yeah.
It moved. How did that happen?
It moved
Oh, I changed
sometimes.
it to Word and I didn't realize it had moved.
What was it?
It was in Pages.
Oh, I don't know pages, okay.
So when I turned it to Word, it
Ah.
moved and I didn't realize it and I just printed it. So yeah, we need to fix the format.
Okay, under approval, Commissioner Owens Cody moved. You don't you make a motion, okay,
Move.
but you move. So
Second.
she moved.
Motion was second.
And then we only need 1 second. We don't need both of them. So it'll be Graves, Commissioner Graves. You know. And then the motion carried unanimously. That's it. Take out approve.
Yeah.
Under work session,
Okay.
Commissioner Campbell reminded everyone that today's was planned as a work session. Actually, we could just say review and take out and refamiliarize. because that's what you need.
That's true.
And MMD versus plurality districts. Issue discussion regarding DOJ numbers. Discuss the threshold
One vote.
and large maps.
Effective analysis and other stats
Lowercase.
for all map plans.
EA.
Did you capitalize Lars?
I did in my corrections here, and until map is lowercase. For all map plans. Review discussion. Responsible focus on eventual plan A and or plan A revise. Capital R map revise, that's the name of the map. That's starting points in reviewing potential responding to feedback. More concentrated compact districts.
That's a long sentence, huh?
Okay, but I would say comma after districts and then as well as determining the feasibility of developing a stronger district map. That's new 6 district map recently submitted by Lars Dahl. Needs to be reviewed.
Commissioner Campbell requested that Commissioner Campbell. Is that it?
Requested that.
Commissioner Campbell requested that Commissioner Campbell.
Where's that?
Under next.
Ah.
I think that was you.
Yeah,
Which
is complete.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know.
Oh,
it's Cody, yeah.
Commissioner Campbell requested. Commissioner Campbell.
Review YouTube channel recordings and ensure everything is uploaded. Take out the and after channel.
Your YouTube channel recordings.
And ensure everything is uploaded.
The meeting that you all had on October, we recorded last week, the 19th,
Yes.
there's no recording for that. Did you,
There is, I emailed it to you.
it's not in the view recordings for, maybe it's not.
Cause I think I wasn't really paying attention and I hit a button and I think I hit a button that didn't save it to the cloud. So it was on my laptop.
Okay, okay,
And so I actually emailed the actual recording to you.
okay.
All right, Donna, so I can make these changes and send it back to you.
Okay, or I can just do them, because I already have
Okay.
the template.
All right.
Um,
All right, so
We
can we
can
approve them?
approve as amended.
Is everybody good with them? So can I get a motion at the minutes of our October 26, 2022 meeting of the Majority Minority Subcommittee?
I so move.
I second.
It has been properly moved and seconded that the minutes of the October 26 Majority Minority Subcommittee be approved. All in favor?
Aye.
The motion has passed. The minutes are approved. So I also started the October 22nd one, so I'll just do those. I was up like way too late last night.
Oh, I have a copy of these.
All
All right, so I'll do these.
So,
You want me to do today?
yeah. I will entertain a motion that the meeting be adjourned.
I move that we adjourn.
Can I get a second?
A second.
Has been properly moved and seconded that the meeting be adjourned. All in favor? Aye. The meeting is adjourned. I will stop the recording.